Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's video is dedicated to Exsellsior. Thanks for your support. That said, let's get started. Welcome back to Pathfinder Kingmaker. Today, we're continuing our investigation into the impending troll invasion. We've already rescued a few travelers, recruited a new ally, and encountered an old enemy. Now though, we're currently going to meet with Bartholomew Delgado, a local wizard and self-styled expert on trolls. Let's hope that he can give us some answers. I'm sure he won't mind if we have a look around.
My search was not in vain.
Anything else?
A trivial matter.
Interesting. Some magic goods, minor valuables, and assorted monster parts. Ooh, bracers of archery. That sounds promising. These bracers are chipped by many arrows shot by their previous owner. These bracers empower the wearer to use any bow with a +2 competence bonus on attack rolls and a +1 competence bonus on damage rolls. Very nice. That's actually a pretty solid upgrade for Silverleaf. He's still using the lesser bracers of archery we got off the Stag Lord. Yeah, that's a solid +1 bonus to accuracy and damage, so that's pretty much a no-brainer. I guess that does leave us with these leftover bracers, though. Not really sure what we can do with those. Well, we'll hold on to it for now. If we find a really nice bow, maybe we'll toss it to Tristan. Also, let's hope that Bartholomew doesn't mind that we helped ourselves.
All according to plan.
Serrated knives, stained needles, and manacles share shelves with flasks, vials, and chemicals. Ooh, I can't say I like the sound of that. What kinds of experiments does he conduct here? That is an excellent question. Let's see if we can find out before he actually shows up. Mushrooms. Oh, no, shamble tuss. Ah, there we go. Bartholomew's diary. This is the title page of a diary, covered with crudely scratched symbols. There are numerous smears, worn spots, cuts, and burns on it. Bartholomew obviously isn't a tidy type. The leather cover is spotted with acid burns. Page edges are tattered. There are 4 symbols carved on. The first one is B. 3 others stand separately, I and I. If B stands for the name Bartholomew, what does this I and I mean? Interesting. The Great Experiment, Day 104. I burned all the previous notes, too embarrassed to remember what a complete fool I was. But now that I've got the creature, I call it Dimwit, everything is going to be all right. Studying the troll's ability to regenerate will lead me to my ultimate goal. The Great Experiment, Day 112. Got a reason to celebrate. While determining Dimwit's pain threshold, I found out it practically has no such thing. Wounds, broken bones, amputations, and the rest of the perils of a warrior or mage's life. For a troll, these are no threat at all. The trick is to avoid getting carried away while working with fire or acid, so that impact spots will heal in several days. Amazing. Too bad that I didn't dare to buy it at the very beginning of my way. The Great Experiment, Day 125. Staying in bed for the second day after the incident. Serves me right. I got a trifle too excited and came a bit too close to Dimwit. The beast bit my arm. Then it started shouting something like, "Borba, Borba." I wonder what that means, if anything at all. The wounded hand is still sore. It even hurts to write this. I hate pain so much. The Great Experiment, Day 127. Here I am, lying in bed and thinking about how different we are. My unique intellect against its unbearable animalistic stupidity. At the same time, its regeneration and some chthonic ability to endure tortures and heal wounds against my human fragility and intolerance to pain. It's okay. I'll find the way to get what I need. The Great Experiment, Day 129. I got overzealous. Regeneration of 3 simultaneously amputated limbs proved to be an extremely slow process. All the resources of the troll's strength are barely enough for it to go on. And I probably shouldn't have used fire. In the wild environment and without my elixirs, the creature would be long dead. I will continue my experiments in 3 days or so. I feel I'm close now. A few more efforts and I will really become invulnerable and invincible. Well, I guess we now know what I stands for. Subtle. Temple of Roses by Alestin of Sonaria. Interesting. I don't think it has anything to do with our current investigation, though. Borba. A hoarse croak comes from behind the bars. Borba. The troll sitting in the cage is so thin you can see his ribs through the skin. Although you see no scars, his pelt is matted with dried blood, and his eyes are dull and unfocused. Various knives, saws, and bloody manacles scattered about leave little doubt about what this troll has suffered. Borba, the troll croaks through clenched teeth. Kill me. Enough. It hurts. Ooh, that's grim. Bartholomew rushes into the laboratory, waving the sample of branded troll skin excitedly. It was simpler than I thought. This is just a simple spell of fire protection. Any competent wizard could cast it. The unusual element was the way the spell was applied. This wasn't cast by any human hand, though. Oh no. The brand was stamped on with some artifact, which would make it possible to make trolls fire-resistant in massive numbers. This is grave news for us all. My fire traps are useless now, and making acid traps will take time and resources. More importantly, for trolls to organize in such a way, there must be some greater intelligence operating behind the scenes. And if that's the case, the list of potential targets for a force that formidable is a short one. Bartholomew pauses, then begins to rummage through his lab. I promised you a reward, so please, accept these acid wands. I'm afraid you may need them soon. First, explain to me why this troll is in your cage. Bartholomew's eyes light up. Oh yes, this is the greatest project of my career. I'm exploring the regenerative abilities of trolls in the hopes of passing them on to humans. Can you imagine the possibilities? Pain, senility, mutilations, even death itself, defeated. Oh, you weren't concerned I acquired the troll illicitly, were you? Don't worry, I purchased it legally. I'm not some poacher out roaming the Baron's woods. I sometimes have trouble accepting laws that would protect lowlives like him, but he is within his rights. unfortunately. Oof, this is a tricky one. On the one hand, it's obviously inherently evil to imprison a sentient creature and experiment on it. In a lot of ways, it's actually very similar to that alchemist who captured that wounded elf and then observed as she slowly transformed into a shambling mound. On the other hand, though, this is a troll we're talking about. These things are inherently evil monsters, which are currently in the process of invading our kingdom, attacking and trying to eat anyone they encounter. As nice a sentiment as it might be to order Bartholomew to let this thing go, I think that would just cause more trouble in the long run. It would almost certainly end up coming back for revenge, and even then, if it did succeed in killing Bartholomew, it would almost certainly end up going on to hurt other people as well. I don't feel great about it, but at the end of the day, I think we need to prioritize our citizens first. I don't care about the nature of your experiments, so long as no harm comes to my subjects. How could you say that, Your Grace? I couldn't bring myself to harm even an animal. I've chosen this troll because they're a plague, and their numbers need to be thinned. Oh, you know what? When you put it that way, I am not convinced. As the ruler of these lands, I order you to immediately cease all dangerous experiments and terminate that troll. Valerie frowns. These experiments are deplorable, but the law is with him. If you're a baron, not a bandit chief, you have no right to interfere. Really, Valerie? I guess technically she's right. Alright, I guess we'll just roll with it and we'll see what happens. I'll let him continue his experiments, but only because you insist. Valerie smiles at you sadly. The ruler's path is complicated, Silverleaf. I admire your resolution in the face of such dilemmas. Bartholomew bows. Thank you, Your Grace. You won't regret this decision. Yeah, you'd better hope I don't. Okay, well... What a surprise. The wizard turned out to be a creepy lunatic. Oh, Lindsay. She always does have quite a way with words. Anyway, we're right next to Bartholomew, so I guess we should sell off our vendor trash before we leave. I'd normally cut this part out, but this should be pretty quick. Okay, I think that's everything. And I don't think we need anything from Bartholomew, so... Yeah, I think we're ready to move on. I wonder if we can... no, we can't interact with Dimwit. Sorry, buddy.
In due time.
Well, I'm not entirely sure I made the right decision there, but I am curious to see how it turns out. Oh, and, of course, I'd love to hear what you guys think about that whole scenario, as well as the decisions I ended up making. Like I said, it was definitely a very complicated situation. I mean, Bartholomew himself is obviously evil, lawful evil if I had to guess. But shutting down his experiments wouldn't necessarily serve the greater good. Well, like I said, let me know what you guys think, and, for now, we'll just move on. Okay, that's 2 locations down. That just leaves the bandit camp, the ruined tower, and maybe that Hodag lair as well. It's a bit out of the way, but it would be nice to knock it off our to-do list. Obviously, we'll start with the bandit camp. Abandoned laboratory. This tiny abandoned hovel hides an impressive collection of alchemical potions, reagents, and tractates. Interesting. I wonder if that's one of Bartholomew's old labs. Random encounter. Always happy for some extra experience points. Oh, bear-like treant.
That is not far.
Let's toss up a few quick buffs before we take this thing on.
Ready for anything.
Confide in me.
The end draws near.
Don't hesitate.
Lindsay the Magnificent? Lindsay the Illustrious? Something more simple, like Lindsay the Great? Maybe Lindsay the Indecisive.
No mistakes.
I am yours to command.
Alright, let's get this started. Oh, you know what? Let's conjure up a death pony too. Certainly couldn't hurt.
Here. Let us strike as one!
I guess we could stand to have some spell support too. Nice shot, Tristan. Nice. Yeah, this thing is pretty tough. I guess we have gotten a lot stronger since the Temple of the Elk, though.
As it should be.
What troubles you?
All right, moving on. There we go. Bandit Camp. A small glade in the middle of the woods, in which someone has set up camp. Smoke drifts above the trees, as well as some voices and what might be laughter. Sounds about right. Okay, not marked as hostile. Let's toss up a couple of quick buffs here, and then we'll try talking to them.
Share your troubles.
Hey, you all are leaving some for me, right? Just stand lookout like you were told. The man's voice carries the weight of command. He seems to be the leader of these bandits, His bushy beard is matted, and remnants of the last day's meal are still evident in it. "Quit your whining. We always take care of our own, don't we?" says a disheveled, rotund woman with a round face. "Ha! Right you are." "When have we ever mistreated you, shorty?" The short, ratty man, whose filthy strands of hair do little to obscure his prominent bald spot, doesn't even try to watch the road. His eyes are locked on the sight of his companions, rummaging through their most recent haul of obviously stolen loot. The bandit leader looks up and jumps with a start when he sees you, his soul eye wide in disbelief. "Shorty, you ass! You were supposed to watch the road!" Shorty spins to face you, finally noticing your presence. "Hey, someone's coming! Grab your blades!" he yells belatedly. "Hey, hold on everyone," the bandit leader says as he sheaths the sword he'd drawn just a moment ago. "And Shorty, stop your foaming. Look here, this is our glorious Baron himself. Come now, bow down everyone, bow down." The bandit leader bows low, a smirk showing through his bushy beard. The rest of the bandits clumsily repeat the gesture, all except Shorty, who can only glance back and forth, unable to comprehend the situation. "Who are you? What's going on here?" "Why, we're your loyal subjects, honest bandits, the lot of us." The bandit leader's broad smile reveals a mouthful of rotted teeth. "We'd been associating with the Stag Lord's band, but since you went and beat the stag out of him, we're left on our own." "So now you want to take us in, your grace? We'd be even better with a strong leader." "You wish to enter my service?" "Aye, your grace. We're ready and willing to serve. We'll take a pledge right now if you want. We'll kiss your boots, your ass, whatever you need. We're sick to death of hiding in the woods and sleeping in the dirt. Why be bandits when we could take from traders legal-like?" "Collect taxes, he means, your grace," the rotund woman clarifies. "All for the glory of your grace, of course," the bandit leader says with a grin. "Hey, what are you saying?" Shorty shakes his head in confusion. "If that's the Baron, the only job he'll have for us is as noose tighteners. I say we cut him down and call it a day." "Shut your trap, Shorty." "I beg your pardon, your grace. Dumb as a doornail he is. Just joined our company but recently. The very sight of these low-life scoundrels offends me." The bandit leader glances at Valerie. "Hey, Berta, look at the girl in the Baron's service. Clean and slick and well-groomed she is. You could take a lesson or three from her, I'd say." "Aye, and the Baron himself's quite the man, too. Bet he'd do more overnight than you could handle in a month." Berta glances at you. "Say, your grace, would you care to take me to your fairy tale castle?" Pass." "Lower than vermin," Valerie says with a grimace. "With your permission, I would happily cleanse the world of this trash." Even the vilest of villains deserves mercy if they want to walk the path of redemption. However, I see no remorse in these people. Hey, come on now, Tristan. You said the same thing about Kalana, and she hasn't stabbed us in the back yet. That said, this is probably a terrible idea, but let's give these guys a chance. We do want to recruit allies wherever possible. Alright, I'll hire you, but only if you promise to straighten yourselves out and quit banditry. Oh, we'll straighten out, don't you worry. We'll turn a new leaf for sure. The bandit leader smiles, his blackened teeth showing behind his beard. We promise, your grace. We kneel before you and swear to become model citizens. You mark our words. You're hired. Just remember your promise. Well, looks like we've got 4 mid-level bandits on the payroll. 4.5 counting Shorty. Hooray for his grace! Hooray indeed. I will be confiscating these stolen goods, though. Ooh, Wand of Cure Light Wounds. That's not a bad find. Heavy Mace +1. Let's see if we need that haste spell. Nope, looks like we've already got it. Okay, let's walk the perimeter, and otherwise I think we're done here.
In due time.
Oh, I don't like surprises.
Alright, not bad. Well, I was hoping for more, but all things considered, I think that turned out pretty well.
All according to plan.
Next up, the ruined watchtower. Okay, so this is a pretty big map, and we have no idea where that new encounter is. Though this big empty space here is pretty conspicuous.
Right here, my friend.
We'll just follow the road for now and see if anything catches our eye. Well, that looks pretty conspicuous. What is it, boy? What are you trying to tell us? Ekundio.
I know what to do.
Well, let's cue the music, and then we'll have a chat.
Anything is possible.
How may I help?
Following the strange wolf, you climb the top of the hill. There, you see a black-skinned man sitting under a spreading bush. The wolf runs up to him and sits near, whimpering.
Whom you brought? Get lost, dog. You're not needed here.
He raises his arm as if to hit the wolf, but the animal doesn't even try to dodge, still whining. The man's hand goes down, never finishing the blow. The man staggers to his feet, and you notice there's blood soaking the right side of his leather leggings. He's very tall and rather lanky. While he stands before you, leaning on his bow, his hurt leg trembles slightly, and the right side of his leggings darkens again with fresh bleeding. Nevertheless, the man doesn't reveal his pain, except for a strained jaw and heavy gaze.
Ekundayo.
The man says, looking straight into your eyes. I'm Silverleaf. I'm the Baron of these lands. Nice to meet you.
Ekon for decent ones. Are you decent?
The man nods. You're bleeding. We need to patch you up.
Patched up already. This wound isn't the deadliest.
The man stares at his leg, as if seeing it for the first time. You're not local, are you?
The name gave it up? Or my skin color? Yes, bred and nourished up away from here.
It seems to you that a sparkle of good humor flickers in the man's eyes, but his face remains still. Why is your wolf whining?
Not mine.
The man throws a glance at the wolf, who is still staring at him. Yes, I am a friend. So, what are you doing here?
Sitting, waiting, hunting.
Ekundeo shrugs. Who? Can I help you?
Lured your curiosity. Serves me right. We'll start again.
Ekundeo narrows his eyes and exhales loudly.
The name's Ekondayo. Ekon for decent ones. Used to be a carpenter in the Bristle Hill village. Trolls attacked. Killed everyone but me. We'll show them that was a mistake.
Ekon speaks with a distant voice, looking somewhere above you.
They all deserve death. Kargad most of all. Rock Troll. He led them.
Ekon grimaces, as if he has a toothache. How did you get wounded?
I've been hunting trolls until they have hunted back. The wound can't stop the hunting, just slows it down.
Ekon shrugs. How can a mere carpenter be chasing trolls effectively?
You were not always a baron. Here, I was not always a carpenter. Nothing to lose anymore.
He adds, almost in a whisper. Bleak. Did you know that local trolls are not afraid of fire now?
No, didn't. Fire arrows couldn't murder them. Now I know the reason. Had no chance here. Can see it now.
Ekon's face is hard to read, but it seems to you he is surprised. He glances at his wounded leg. Why are you sitting on this hill?
Troll feet often followed this path. Can't hunt them anymore. That's why I wait. They will come here eventually.
He glances at his wound. I'm hunting the trolls too. Would you like to join our efforts? Ekon's face gets a trifle calmer. You can see he's glad to hear your offer.
We'll mark on your map all the places where troll feet tread the land. Troll's lair must be somewhere nearby.
Oh, hey, that's useful. 3 more locations to check out. Thank you, Ekon.
The spirit is strong, but the body falters. We'll follow you wherever you need, but this wound must be tended by healers in the capital. Don't want to burden. One more thing, before we go. Troll feet tread this path often. Would like to stay here until they appear.
Before we go, I'd like to ask you some questions.
You have my respect, but the answers shall be postponed. Swear by Torag the time for question will come, after Kargad's last breath is drawn.
Ekon's face darkens.
One more lost soul, moaning, suffering from despair. Cast away the false light of the Torag's forge, and see the verity in Grotus's moonlight.
Harem raises his eyes to the sky. Ekon looks Harem up and down, but doesn't react to his passionate speech. Odd. You know what? I'm curious now, so let's push a little farther. To help a person, I need to learn at least a little about them.
1.
Ekon sighs and nods. Well, just one question, but let's start with the obvious one. Besides, it might goad another response from Harem. You swear by Torag?
Yes. All gods are even in the eyes of men in Absalom. Chose the one which fitted best, though he is a dwarf god. Used to guard decent men and craft bows. Torag blesses both guards and crafters,
He shrugs and glances at his longbow.
He blesses no one. He's left his followers to their fates. He's left me, a dwarf, in the hour of ultimate need. What did he do for you, human? Did he help you? How did he protect your village?
Harem snaps. His face turns red as he speaks, gesturing actively. Egan stares heavily at Harem, who's gotten into a religious frenzy. You are starting to worry that the ranger will simply hit your cleric. But after Harem runs out of breath at last, Egan just turns away. Alright, well, I'd love to hunt some trolls, but let's not tempt fate here. We'll give Egan some time to recover first, even though we could technically heal him right now. Go to the capital. I will find you there. Okay, I think we're done. I think a few trolls do show up if you recruit Ekin immediately. It's pretty trivial though, so we're not really missing anything. That's, odd timing for that tutorial, but okay. Anyway, that gives us several new locations to investigate. We've only got a few minutes left on the clock though, so we should probably keep this simple. We'll just head for the Kobold Trail for now.
I tire.
Kobold Trail. A remote place known for numerous kobold trails. There is a chance that trolls have decided to use the scaly little creature's paths, as tracks leading to a troll lair have been found in the hills. I can't help but notice it's not actually telling us we've never been here before. This is probably a narrative event, so let's make sure we're properly rested before we go in there. Alright, let's have a look. The hills seemed pleasant, even welcoming. No gray doom and gloom, just walking along the path and enjoying the view of all the cute little white pyramids built out of pebblestone. Or, wait, was it pebblestone? Horror of horrors, what I mistook for pebbles were polished bones. All along the path, the grass was riddled with pyramids made of polished kobold remains. It got us to thinking, is it wise to follow such a grim path, the way marked by death itself? Sure, I don't see why not. Defying all danger, we followed the path. Trying to brush away thoughts on who may have polished the kobold vertebrae and why, we quickly moved along the path, leading through the pale hills. It didn't take long for us to reach a mountain river, with a bridge crossing over it. Well, bridge may be a bit generous. It was actually just a long branch, about as thick as an arm, spanning from one bank to the other. It may have been enough for a kobold to cross, since we could see another of those small bone pyramids on the far side, but it didn't look nearly strong enough for our party to cross. Before deciding how to proceed, we carefully examined the river. We quickly discovered that the river was quite deep. I plunged my arm shoulder deep into the water and couldn't even feel the bed. It was fast, too. The current pulled a dried leaf off my sleeve, and it was gone from my sight in a blink. And it was cold, very, very cold. Frankly, none of us were interested in taking a swim. We carefully examined the branch that would help us cross the river. The branch did have one thing going for it, though. Being so thick, it happened to be quite sturdy. But that didn't make the flimsy crossing any less slippery or challenging to anyone daring to set foot on it. I wonder how many kobolds have slipped on the wet bark and found a watery grave in the ice-cold river. We talked it over and chose a volunteer to try crossing the river. Alright, well, this is pretty clearly a balance check, so I don't think athletics is really going to help us here. Let's just assume that Lindsay won't have any trouble. Lindsay was unperturbed by the thin branch and the speeding current. After a deep breath, our volunteer set forth along the precarious crossing. One step, then another. A few feet crossed with no trouble, and I started to think that maybe things would be fine. That's when the branch jerked and started to shake. It was rolling over. With no time to think, all Lindsay could do was jump to the other side. Oh, the lengths we'll go to in our efforts to keep our pride untarnished and our pants dry. One incredible jump, and Lindsay was on the other bank. Lindsay took a moment to catch her breath and turned her attention back to the crossing. A nearby shrub concealed an amusing kobold contraption, a crooked ladder built from random planks and sticks. It seems the kobolds crossed the river in much the same way we had, sending their most agile companion across to fling the ladder over to the other side. Losing no more time, we crossed the river. Oh my. One small pyramid made of polished kobold bones may be a bit spooky, but it's not unbearable. But how about thousands? We found ourselves looking over a proper kobold graveyard, each little pyramid a mark of a kobold death, and that mark made out of their own remains. Yeesh. The real enigma, though, waited in the heart of the burial ground. The centerpiece was made of hundreds, maybe even thousands of polished bones, all put together to form the head of an enormous dragon. Imagine it, these small, nonsensical reptiles somehow managed to create a sculpture both fearsome and magnificent. Such might and yet such frailty as well. If a single bone were to be removed from the foundation, this beautiful statue would crumble to dust. And I even spotted one such flimsy bone. Regardless, we'd come face to face with irrefutable proof. The kobolds, for better or worse, were changing. This news had no impact on our search for the trolls, though. The land was clearly sacred to the kobolds, and it seemed unlikely that they would bring their new friends here. But how would the Baron deal with the structure we found in his realm? The Baron deemed it proper to respect the kobold shrine. Following my advice, the Baron adjusted the dangerously loose bone in the hope of reinforcing the remarkable composition. His Grace was standing to leave when a glint from the dragon's jaw drew his attention. Carefully reaching inside, the Baron pulled out what seemed to be a dirty stone. Beneath an outer layer of clay, we found a large, finely cut emerald. It seemed the kobold spirits decided to grant us a gift. Stowing the offering in his bag, the Baron turned and left. We dutifully followed our leader, and soon the bizarre kobold burial ground was far behind us. Interesting. A very intriguing encounter. Well, we're past the 45-minute mark, so I think that brings us to a pretty good breaking point. We'll hit the pause button for now, but we'll pick up here next time. Goodness knows, we've got no shortage of locations to investigate. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Pathfinder Kingmaker, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official YouTube channel, the official Discord channel, the official Facebook page, the official Twitter feed, the fan-run wikis, or the original crowdfunding campaign over on Kickstarter. Links are in the description.